Fortnite Season 4 Chapter 5 has the best mythic weapons we've ever seen, and I'm going to show you how to get every single secret one on the map and which bosses to eliminate to get all the new medallions, mythic weapons, and powers. Also, remember guys, I'm gifting 5 subscribers every single day, so if you want the new battle pass or a skin that comes in the item shop, drop a like, turn on all notifications, and leave a comment with your epic ID. You guys are the best, and thank you to everyone who takes 2 seconds to type Doom in the Fortnite item shop today when you log in. It really means the world to me. When you guys first spawn into the match, you can easily just open up your map and see where the first 3 mythic medallions spawn. It's the same every game. So let's start off first with the Castle Doom spawn on the northeastern part of the map. Wherever you land, you should run into some of Doom's tactical grunts, and they are actually useful because when you knock them, you can actually hire them to fight for you. Unfortunately, you can only hire one at a time, because if you try to hire a second, the first one will just disappear. So only worry about hiring one grunt and then gear up and make your way to the northeastern part of the POI as well, because Doombot will actually spawn here every single time sitting on his throne. You can either walk up to him and start the fight that way, or just go ahead and shoot him whenever you see him. But make sure you're careful because he is pretty powerful since he can charge right at you, and it's going to be pretty difficult to take him out on your own before eliminating everyone else in the area, so keep that in mind. It will be well worth it though, because he has some of the best mythic loot in the game, since he drops 1 medallion and 2 different mythic weapons. First of all, he will drop Doombot's Siphon medallion, which of course will give you Siphon on eliminations. And if you were wondering, I did test, it does give you 50 health and or shield whenever you get an elimination, so pretty standard Siphon. And you guys already know everyone's going to be going for this. But then he also drops Dr. Doom's Arcane Gauntlets, as well as Dr. Doom's Monarch Pistol. So this season's Dr. Doom's Arcane Gauntlets are slightly different than the original back in Chapter 2 Season 4, because basically these have both mythic powers in one. So first, of course, you have the Arcane Blast, where it shoots like orbs of green energy, and now they actually do 50 damage per hit. So this is definitely an upgrade from the last Dr. Doom Gauntlets, because I think those only did 20 or 25. However, you cannot spam these like infinitely. At some point there will be a small cooldown, so keep that in mind as well. They do have pretty crazy range still, and there's no damage fall off or anything, so it's still pretty cool for that. And I'll see if I can get a clip from when I was actually fighting other players, but they are actually good for combat as well. And then he's also got, as part of the same mythic weapon, you can use his mystical bomb, which is also pretty similar to the one we had in Chapter 2 Season 4, but this one does a 90 damage, and I'm not sure exactly how much it did in Chapter 2, but you'll see with the bomb it also has pretty good range, and it only has a 12-second cooldown before you can use it again. But not only that, Doombot also drops Dr. Doom's Monarch Pistol, which is a new type of pistol in this season, and you'll see this one comes with a 1.15x red dot sight. But not only that, this weapon actually behaves differently whether you're aiming down sight or just firing from the hip. So you'll see if you're just firing from the hip, it does fire faster. However, you'll only do 49 damage to the body, versus if you aim down sight, you will actually do 81 damage to the body. So it is a pretty big difference, keep that in mind. And then not only that, if you hip fire someone in the head, it does 83 damage, and if you aim down sight, you will do 137 damage. I don't know if I have a good clip of me using this thing, but I know I was using this pistol and it is really good from range. Like, I can't even imagine someone using this on mouse and keyboard or something. It's probably super OP. And well, you guys may be wondering, like, what happened to the mythic weapon we saw from Doom that we saw in the trailer? Because as you can see, this is clearly like a beam of green energy, which is not what we got with the gauntlets. And while I'm thinking this might actually be the official Dr. Doom mythic weapon that we get later on the season when we can actually unlock him as a skin, because if you guys noticed, the boss wasn't called Dr. Doom, it was called Doombot. So it's not actually him that we're fighting yet. So I'm pretty sure to get that Dr. Doom green beam, we're gonna have to wait until he actually comes himself as a boss. But moving on, we're gonna take a look next at the Mysterio boss, which you can find at the Doomstad POI. That's kind of just in the northern part of the map, pretty close to Castle Doom. Doom's tactical grunts are also here, so if you go straight here, you can still hire one. And basically, you'll be able to find Mysterio just walking around right in the middle, right around Doom's statue. However, as soon as you shoot Mysterio, he's gonna teleport right right behind you, so be on the lookout for that. He also has the ability to clone himself as soon as you take down his shield, but honestly, he is the easiest boss to take out, so you shouldn't really have much trouble with him. And as soon as you take him out, you'll see he drops Mysterio's Stealth Medallion and Mysterio's Sovereign Shotgun. So Mysterio's Stealth Medallion allows you to go invisible when you crouch, and this invisibility will last a maximum of 15 seconds if you don't undo your crouch or shoot a weapon. So this is definitely the best like invisibility item we've ever got, because you can actually have the weapon you want out ready to fire while you're still invisible. So basically when you first fire that weapon, it'll start to turn you visible again, and then you actually have to fire again for it to actually shoot bullets. So it's technically not shooting instantly as you become visible, but you can see it's pretty darn close. So if you're sneaking up on someone, it's pretty much gonna have the same effect. And you can see from the other player's point of view that you're pretty much entirely invisible, especially when you're standing still. When you start to move, you can see a little bit of the blue, but it is still really hard to see. So I think this thing is going to be pretty darn good in matches. I tried to use the Hades dash that you get from the water, and unfortunately you can't use that while being invisible. But yeah, either way, this thing is going to be super solid because it does activate the invisibility pretty quickly after you start crouching too. And now for Mysterio's Sovereign Shotgun. Unfortunately, I didn't get to play around with it against real enemies too much. However, it does do 105 damage to the body as well as 160 headshot damage. So I feel like the headshot damage is kind of weak because it doesn't shoot extremely fast either. But I don't know, maybe this thing has really good range or something that I just wasn't able to test yet. But hey, it is a mythic shotgun at the end of the day, so I'm sure we're not going to complain if we find it in our inventory. However, it does kind of suck that we don't get that ability to clone ourselves like the Mysterio boss has. I thought that was going to be an ability that we could actually use ourselves. So hopefully that comes later in the season, but there isn't any concrete evidence of that yet, to be honest. So moving on to the third mythic boss, we have Emma Frost, who you can find at the Raft POI. And basically she's just in that center building. You'll find her at the bottom sitting on her throne. And in my opinion, this boss is pretty tough because there are a ton of the Doom's henchmen that seem to surround you from every angle. And since it's such like a close quarters area, you'll pretty much have to fight them all off before you end up taking out the boss. But once you take her out, you'll see that she drops 2 mythics of her own. The first one being Emma Frost's Reveal Medallion, and the second being Emma Frost's Striker Burst AR. So first of all, for the Reveal Medallion, it looks like it triggers every 50 seconds, so just under a minute, and it'll automatically send out that pulse that will reveal enemies through walls and put that red marker above their heads. This mark on enemies will actually last 15 seconds, so it is pretty long. And since it works as like an actual wall hack, there is no chance somebody will be able to run away from you when you have them marked. So I could see this thing being super good in the end game. And as far as the Mythic Burst Rifle, I wasn't able to use it too much, but I do know this thing has crazy range and a super high rate of fire. So I imagine it's gotta be pretty good. We'll have to see as the season goes on, but I doubt there will be a better assault rifle than this for you guys to use. So now moving on to the next mythic is War Machine's Arsenal. And well, you can actually find this mythic a couple of different ways. The guaranteed way is to wait for the floating island to spawn on the map, which happens as soon as the 4th storm circle opens. So you guys can actually track this on your map. If you pull it up, it'll tell you what storm you're on. So as soon as you see that storm 3 is about to be over and storm 4 starts, that's when this floating island will spawn. Then when you see where it spawns, you just make your way over to the island and you just have to capture the flag area that's right in the middle. And as soon as it's done, you'll get a bunch of loot to spawn out, including the War Machine's Arsenal mythic. So this thing is actually pretty crazy. It basically gives you a machine gun and rocket launcher all in one. The machine gun only does like 16 damage per shot, but it does shoot really fast. And then it gives you a total of 8 rockets to shoot in bursts of 2, and each rocket does 25 damage. So you can unleash a lot of damage very quickly. And you'll see in this clip here, I actually had the War Machine jetpack on top of it to pair with it. So the jetpack is completely separate and you can just find it as loot on the island. But when you pair these two things together, that's really when it gets crazy, because the jetpack allows you to fly super high up in the air and you don't don't take fall damage no matter what, no matter if you run out of boost or whatever. So yeah, I didn't get to play with just the Mythic too much. I kind of had both at the same time, and I think that's what really makes it fun. So if I were you guys, I would definitely try to get both at the same time to really take advantage of it. And it's pretty cool because you can find the War Machine's Arsenal Mythic in the Avengers chests as well, which are just like randomly scattered throughout the island. So this should be like the easiest Mythic for you guys to get, and therefore you should eventually be able to find a jetpack to go along with it. Now next up guys, we have Gwenpool's dual micro SMGs, and I gotta say this is definitely my favorite new weapon of the season. These things are so cool. So if you guys go to the raft, you'll see there's a small separate little building across from where the Emma Frost boss is, and you'll see Gwenpool actually has a challenge for us to do here. And well, I did this challenge thinking that maybe the final reward would be the Gwenpool's dual micro SMGs, but that is not the case. It does give you a free level. However, it looks like we're gonna have to wait until she frees herself from this area, because once she does, I think that's when she'll become a boss on the map. And I'm guessing since these are like kind of weekly type of challenge quests, we will probably get her as a boss, or at least she'll escape this area in the next week or two. And when she does, I know everyone's gonna want these, because by that time everyone will have used these dual micro SMGs. And you can see from the stats that the legendary version to the mythic version isn't that crazy of a jump. I mean, it'll have 1 extra damage, 1 extra headshot damage, the same amount of ammo, and only 0.1 second of a faster reload speed and the same fire rate. So yeah, if you guys get the gold version of these, it is almost just like the mythic one. So definitely try these out if you see them. And it's not only these mythics that we can look forward to. There's even a birthday medallion in the files right now. And basically when you jump, it'll deploy a balloon. I'm not sure if this will be connected to a boss. I think it would, because every other medallion is, but there is going to be a birthday event coming up. So it's possible it could be separate. And then not only that, I know everyone wants to use the Iron Man mythics that we saw in the trailer, but unfortunately it looks like we're gonna have to wait for the next big update to come out for all those mythics to come in, because it's gonna be a huge update just like they did in chapter 2 with the new POI, a bunch of Stark chests and stuff like that. And it doesn't even stop with the Iron Man mythics, because he's also going to bring the Stark Industries drones back, and these will also drop brand new mythics as well as the chapter 2 season 4 mythics. So that's gonna be absolutely insane. Whenever this Iron Man update comes out, there's gonna be a ton of really cool stuff, because if you didn't play back in chapter 2, just know that there are a ton of other Marvel mythics that we'll be able to use. And I'm guessing this will also include the Shuri mythic that we saw in the trailer as well, because back in chapter 2 we had a Black Panther mythic that we got out of those Stark Industries drones. So yeah guys, we have a ton of awesome mythic related stuff to come still this season, even though there's already so many great mythics in the game. So drop a like if you're hyped for this season, and now go jump in and try these for yourselves.